Okay, is everybody hearing me loud and clear in the words of Jeff Martin from Racer X? I do see there's a few people in here, and sorry about bumping the mic on there. Michael Torin, hey man, I hope you're doing well. What is new in your world? What sweet piece of candy have you got your hands on recently? Why isn't my camera focusing? I mean, it's cool that you want to focus on the record, but what's going on? There you go. There's my pick. There's my pick hand as well. So this is cool. Excellent. I'm really glad. And thanks to Noise Bloom for catching a live stream. Got the new streaming setup dialed in nicely over here, which is great. And Josh Simonson got a new guitar, which he's going to tell us all about in the stream right now, because apparently it's pretty sick on there. Aussie Shot in the Dark. It's an alternate tuning though, a neat one. Yeah, I have a video about that. Like, I think it's in B flat, so probably written by the keyboard player. So Thursday is streaming day. It's Friday. It's actually just afternoon here in sunny Perth, Western Australia. You're in a slump. Well, it's not a slump, Michael. It's just it's a consolidation period, right? And this camera's driving me nuts. One sec. Let's not do that, bro. That's better. Okay, excellent. ESP LTD EC100 Evertune. How cool is the Evertune thing? I didn't realize there's different. I tried one last year, I think. I didn't realize there's different modes, like one where it's like, nah, will not move the string, can't do vibrato, all those kind of things, which I wasn't really that into. I can see if you were just chunking out metal rhythm guitar, that would be very handy, but you know, I like the Sabbathness of a power chord where you can, you know, that. No, that's kind of part of the fun, right, Scott? Where you can just be like, oh, cool. I can just go and say hello to everybody. And I was teaching this morning. I missed the Head First stream, so I'll have to go and watch that one. I think you had Bruce Egnater on there, which is pretty awesome. I'll be very keen to check that one out. And yeah, I just kind of finished everything I had to do in the morning, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play some guitar. Maybe I'll live stream it. So it's cool to see people hanging out. And this one's from The Introvert. Just checked out your Rockman video. The Def Leppard and Boston tones are insane. I love it. Yeah, I like it so much that I've cloned it on the Axe. You know, for that thing. So while we all pressure Michael Torin into trading for a legendary piece of gear, I'll play these chords, right? I need a passing chord here, that'll do. Another one. Something like that, anyway. This is a good question from Scott. Do you practice relaxation techniques, or did it come naturally to you? I do. It's a big part of what I practice, probably more than technical stuff. A lot of... I'm watching the cricket a lot at the moment, and I know cricket's, let's say, baseball for Americans, but it's a Cricket World Cup at the moment. And reading about how dudes train for pressure moments where it's like, you know, you might need a particular number of runs in a particular number of boards, in a particular number of balls, and like, how do you clear your mind for that stuff, and how do you stay relaxed? And a big thing I got from that, and or you know, you watch a soccer penalty shootout or something like that, is really breaking a routine down into 2 or 3, I refer to them as cues, you know, so it's like some people might call them, what's the other word that I'm looking for in here that they use when they're talking about hitting? It'll come to me, but I refer to them as like mental cues, right? So let's say if I was going to be, yeah, talking about the wickets right there. So like a mental cue for me is what my first finger does when I play a legato line. So normally when I pick up a guitar and I start trying to go whittly, the way I learnt, and I'm sure the way a lot of people learnt, was you know, you fix your first finger. So if you were playing something like, where's my guitar sound? That kind of thing where you keep your first finger planted. Sorry, the gate's off. That makes a lot of sense, right? You know, keep your first finger planted, but it can build too much tension in your left hand. So one thing I'll practice is, and I feel, yeah, chunking. Yeah, there you go. That's what we're talking about. You chunk these like complicated things into one. Oh, I just do this. So one thing I think about is just my first finger doing that. Whether I do it or not, but you know, you might take a lick like. And I'll really practice just that bit of it. And then you can back this, I'm sure there was a Kiko Loureiro video where he's talking about you back it off so that you're doing that. Like you're barely, you're actually not really pressing. So you start there. And then you just press slightly harder. There you go. And then you bring the right hand in to clean it up. And the whole time, you're trying to like breathe. And then there's this definite point that I find, which I'm not hitting at the moment, but there's like a point where the stuff you do at slow speeds just goes away and it comes down to that like super fine motor control. Not even control, it's like the twitch reflex you have on there where you can play it really, really effortlessly. So it's, how do you get into that space? I'm always really curious about. And it used to be when I started off, it was like try harder, dig up stupid. So, you know, where you just exert more effort. And what exerting more effort does is it causes you to tense up. So it's you got to know what it feels like when you tense up. You have to practice going into that zone. But then what my big mental cue now is for that is it's like literally relax my shoulders. And, you know, you can do a thing with your like abdominal muscles where, you know, if anybody's ever done any type of lifting and like, you know, look at me, I'm not like a massive swole power lifter, but the things that you think you need to do to support your body are often the opposite things to, you know, being able to do a lift. So one is like, you kind of, what's the best way to describe it? You relax your shoulders and you almost like pull them down with your lateral muscles in here. So you kind of like have to know what it feels like to activate those. And then you push your stomach out, you know, with a kind of motion. This is weird shit, right? And it's like, it gives you that foundation through your core, but it doesn't feel like you're tensing up. So, yeah. And then it's about getting in that zone, the wobble zone where everything's really uncontrolled and having some mental cue where it's like, that's the thing I think about when I want to play fast, which is actually probably unrelated to it. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's that like my lateral muscles and my stomach, which is so unrelated to it. But I'll try to give you a real-time example of it with Grease. There's a breath. Okay, this is cool. And then imagine you're a horn player is another thing as well, where you have to breathe out when you play a note like which sounds ridiculous, you know. It's people don't want to talk about this, right? Because you're sitting there going but yeah, or singing a melody when you're doing it, and you know, not just don't sing it into a mic and you'll be fine. Yeah. Hey, Kale, what is going on, dude? It's been a little while since I've heard from you. How are you? You gigging and doing all the fun stuff that we like to be doing? So yeah, that the other cue. This is back to Scott's question. For me, for alternate picking is There's your wrist. That's probably the part of your wrist that sits on the guitar body if you don't play with a floating wrist. The opposite part of it, keeping that, not doing that. I know if I'm doing that, I don't have the right angles and things. So it's about keeping that in the air. And, there's this like rotation in your forearm and things like that. So, it lets you do all the super silly. All your Paul Gilbertisms on there. So, yeah, definitely chunking things down and really mindfully practicing them. I sound as new age as I look at the moment, but it's really true. It's not stuff that I feel like if you haven't practiced this stuff, I don't think it's effective if you want to learn those things. I feel like you have to struggle a bit first. There's definitely that aspect of like, you need to know what it's like to try to play really fast. You need to know what it's like to slow things really down and play them in a controlled manner. But you get to a point where, maybe practicing slowly and deliberately every single practice session isn't going to give you a huge dividend. So yeah, it's a really, really good question. Very, very good question on there, and something I feel like more and more people are talking about. Yeah, sort of like, how do you refine what you can already do? Again, because most people like don't practice a G chord, and that's a great G chord in drop C sharp. Should be that. Once they can kind of do it, there's definitely something to be said about practicing that stuff, but also you probably know what it's like to let go and just play those things by now. So it's like going to yeah, it's, as Mick Hansen said, it's like there's I think people think of Zen practice as just like, just chill out, bro. But there's a lot more to that. It's like holding these two ideas which might seem mutually opposed in your head, but they almost free up the mental space for you to like run into the thing you want to do. So as Michael Lenoff said, yeah, there's the letting go aspect of it, and that's something that I find playing live is really, really important. Really, really important. Like we did a few gigs last month at a venue that's now closing down, which kind of sucks because it sounds great in there. And it was just in the sweet spot of, we played the first couple of songs and I was like, this sounds pretty good on stage. And I actually wasn't using in-ears for it. And then like my right earplug fell out and I was like, whoa, it's so loud on stage. And it was so loud that it's just kind of like you get sustain and you get all the things that you kind of fight in the studio, where it's just like, oh, I don't have to try. I can play these songs. We're playing our own stuff. So, you get that moment of mental release or something part of it. So yeah, it's a really, really good point. Yeah, and there is that aspect of it. There's a saying that our old footy coach used to say is like, there's a saying in sport, it's white line fever, where you cross the white line onto the ground and your personality can totally change. You've got a totally different outlook and mindset about it. And I definitely understood that because I, was and still am a skinny kid playing against guys who are like physically much larger than you. But, you can counter that by being mental and just being crazy and not caring. And that was sort of my approach to it. So like when you're on the field, there's reckless abandon and like you go 100% commitment to it. And I feel like I've taken that to guitar too much sometimes, where like, yeah, it's every bend's got to be the most intense thing you've ever heard in your life. So being able to back that off, but then figuring out how to access it when necessary. Because there's definitely parts of playing live where it doesn't sound great and it's kind of hard and you can't relax the way you want to. So you've got to practice those things where you just go for it. So I'll give you an example. In a song, there's a Ragdoll song called Love on the Run, where like the solo is like, it just always comes up and I'm like, oh, there's that lick coming up. How am I feeling? What do you do when you're in a rut playing the same thing? A really good solution to that is to take a break. That's often probably a good sign that you're trying to play something and it feels really samey, either put the guitar down, go and have a cup of coffee, play with the dog, play with the cat, go for a walk, something like that, or come back and play something different. Scott mentioned something really good here. Practicing chord changes is a great example. One thing that I try to play in a lot of demos when I'm playing with chorus is, where's my guitar sound? So Michael Landau, I'm Buzzed. Great instrumental guitar thing that not enough people talk about. But there's these chord voicings like that, these stretchy things. Getting that. Trying to do that. And then these. They're harder than they look. Maybe they don't look too easy either. Even just trying to play like getting that sort of thing. Just playing stuff and playing bar chords and things like that. They're well worth it, and getting those changes really, really smooth is very, very overlooked, but you're going to play rhythm guitar 95% of the time at a gig and lead guitar 5% of the time at a gig, so why not make your practice schedule skewed that way on there? So, yes, and we've had 2 in a week, exactly. Hey, mate, Christmas is just around the corner, right? The Holdsworth stretchy chords thing, oh man, some of the like that, really, really great. Very, very satisfying. Everyone should go and get Ted Green's modern chord progressions and just like pick out a line from that every single night after dinner. It's fantastic. Even with metal, picking your hand up just enough to not scrape the strings when you move around. Yeah, very, very good. And Scott's got all the great advice in here. He was talking about bending and sliding. They're also things well worth practicing. I remember De La Cruz very, very well. And Casey Jones, the guitar player, he was sort of one of the first people I saw putting up like 80s rock and metal covers on YouTube. I'd love to know what he's up to. I know the singer from the ex De La Cruz singer. He's got a band called Catalano now, which does very, very similar stuff, and Rox is a cool guy. So, it's a small world. Hey, I think they did an album and put it out on Frontiers. Street something. Anyway, they had a song, Lust, Fame, Money. Go and check that one out. Very, very 80s. Very, very 80s. They were kind of a bit ahead of the curve. Now there's bands like, obviously Crash Diet have been around for a long time. Reckless Love, who we played with, and there's another band who are from the Scandinavian countries who I think they'd probably do it better than anybody else at the moment. I got to look it up 1 second. Oh man, what are they called? Nasty Habit was another band we played with. They're not together anymore, but they had some really, really good stuff. And Kenny, the guitar player, is amazing. The band is called Crazy Licks. They are doing some great stuff as well. Anyway, I was going to talk about The Lick That Is Hard. The book that I just mentioned for chord progressions, Ted Green. I think it's Modern Chord Progressions. He's also got Chord Chemistry, which is amazing. Yeah, Ted Green, Modern Chord Progressions. Just go through that. You just pick a line per night. I feel like Joe Satriani mentioned this ages ago. Yep, Ted Green. Man, amazing. And an amazing player as well. Like, you've never seen him play. So I'm going to play this lick in Love on the Run. I'm going to talk through it as well. So you're going to hear my guitar and the track. Where is it? Okay. So it's like rock in A, basically. You're gonna need it when they try to hide the sun. Just set it free, you can't retreat in no direction. Never on the run, forever chasing. No, it just won't last. Having someone Step on the lead. King Bay. This lick. Then I get to change pickups, and here's the run. All good, and then this lick. Okay, so that's that felt fine at the moment, and you know, I'm in a room that's temperature controlled and headphones on, everything's very, very controlled. There's definitely times where I play that and it feels more like, and that stretches like, you know. So the cue there is I need to start this note with an upstroke, all good, and then to get into the, I do some tremolo picking. So that kind of like gets me into what I need to play. But there's definitely times I play it where I can be really, really relaxed. And all I know is I need to land on that note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's actually in accent, so it's not on a downbeat. And similar at the end. Getting that, if that happens, then I'm fine. The hard work is done. But yeah, trying to get into that is sometimes really challenging, and sometimes you just have to like, well, like, you know, the lick goes not clean, whatever. You got another one coming up. You got to like, okay, what's after that? Well, there's a bend. I think I know how to bend, so that's part of the. You feel like you've messed up the lick before, well, there's a bend coming up. Just hit the bend with conviction. Probably fine. There's probably so much noise on stage anyway that it's forgivable. And again, let's do the same solo and see how I come out. I'll talk through it as well. Here's a little bend. Enjoy that. And then you notice that runs slightly different. I think I played it on a guitar with 24 frets, so I ended up bending, and then live it's like, well, I can just start the run and then land on an A. So yeah, it's, you know what it is? It's a reward. I think about this bend after that run as like a reward. I have to do the run, and you know what? Some nights I will play it better than others. Other nights I'm just not warmed up enough, or I'm not in the zone as much, and it is what it is. As long as I land on that, and then no matter what, you tell yourself, I'm going to grab that bend and I'm going to smash it. And then, you know, probably the takeaway is, oh, he did a thing that went blah, 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 blah. There was a good bend at the end of it. So yeah, the bend is the ice cream. It's exactly right. This is what we're talking about. Yeah, man, just hit the bends with conviction, you know. Even if they're out of tune, just give them a wiggle, you know. That's you can always adjust in there, right? The stretchy bit is a little bit hard to play live, so depending on the strap height is really important. So that is what monitors and putting your foot on them is for. So if you're feeling like a bit of that, you can always hitch it up and, you know, try to look like Steve Harris. There was a question or a comment up here. So from Michael, I spent 5 weeks away from guitar, working to pay bills, but I have a 2290p waiting to be unboxed. Congrats, man. I'm very, very curious to hear how you like it. I'm going to grab one and review it at some point. So yeah, I make the comment a lot of times that living in Perth is like living on the moon. We just get stuff much, much later, but I get the internet exists as well. There's a bunch of stuff I've got sitting around here, like pre-release stuff to demo as well. So yeah, I'm so curious to know how it compares to the actual 2290 and then the 2290 in the Fractal and the TC 2290 plugin. I wonder if they just ported the plugin in there. So, we have a very generous super chat from Sad Wings Raging, official friend of the channel. Feed the Kitty shredded raw wrist money. Exactly. They have both been doing much better the last couple of days. One had to go to the vet last week, and one almost had to go to the vet this week. I think he just had like an upset stomach. Cats, cats are hairy, and then the way they clean their hair is to lick it, and then it gets in them, and then it has to come back out. So, yeah, I massively appreciate that. And maybe we should play. What should we play? Okay, I'll play you another song, another Ragdoll song in drop C sharp. I've got the designated drop C sharp McCarty. I forgot how much I like this guitar as well. I've been playing the DGT so much that this is phenomenal as well. There's this fives run in this song, like very EJ style, that I played across a couple of strings. So I was listening to heaps of Black Country Communion. The short song, it's called Tell Me. This was probably the second song I wrote in a drop tuning. The first one's called Here Today, but this was the one where it's like, riffs are sick. We should do more riff rock songs. So I think, it's 2 minutes and 51. I'm going to play the whole thing and see how the solo goes. So it'll be something. Let's do it. And this is for Sad Wings Raging in the comments. I love you, man. I always look forward to your comments. So before we do that, hey to Stefan, thanks for catching the stream, and to Brett, that's awesome. And to Josh, taking up drums to build up rhythm. Yeah, drums are fun. Everyone should know how to play a couple of rock beats. It's a good time. If you don't want to buy a kit, you can also find a local rehearsal room that has a drum kit, and once a fortnight, go and just pay for the room for 5 or 6 hours and bash away, or go full Wayne's World and just go to the local music store and have a bash. All right, I'm gonna play Tell Me for you guys. Can't remember if I've played this on a stream before, but I love playing this song.
Change, what will you do? Never do what your mama told you not to.
That was very, very fun. Yeah, that solo has definitely changed over the years in a big way. But still, there's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's a hippopotamus? Is hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. Yeah. And you know, with a wah, you just fang it, bro. Trying to get the old Zach Sixes thing. That's something I've that's hard. That's my playing is not built around that stuff, but I try. I've been practicing it a lot recently, so never forget Nigel Tufnell, Guitar World Class. Yeah, oh, mate, exactly. Like, you can't use a wah and not go. Yeah, the McCarty. So I had Fishman's in here, which I liked, and I've had this Sir Aldrich that I bought off eBay for ages, and that's a Duncan 59. I just had them kicking around, and I wanted something different, so yeah, swapped them out. I'm going to put the Fishman's in. I don't know what I'm going to put them in actually, but I'll put them in something else. This guitar, I think, going to the DGT and going back to passives on it, I was like, yeah, this is kind of a vibe. So the other thing, well, it's funny because I'm playing that Tell Me solo. I was listening to so much Doug Aldrich at the time, and you know, just his whole trying to do his pentatonic blues scale thing. But as a 3-note per string thing, so the Gary Moore. Oh boy. Something like that anyway. Yeah, man, Ryan has that. He's got that Paul Rogers, Glenn Hughes, etc. thing going on. Big thank you, Plexico, for the super chat. The channel helps so much for Gear Goodies. I appreciate that. What have you grabbed recently? Tell me about it. Yeah, it's a Sir. Ingve Faces class, kissy face. Exactly. I always feel like he does that because he's just so satisfied with his sense of being, where he's just like... The worst Ingve impression you'll hear all day. Fractal then TMP. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Well done, mate. Do you think the SE DGT compares to the core DGT? Really consider. I should add that. I'm going to add this on here. Frost Motion. Adding one or the other to the list. Honestly, the neck. I think it sounds pretty similar. The neck feels more like the neck on this. Like this is. I don't know what neck shape. I'm shocking with neck shapes, but it's wider. This is wider than the DGT and the SE DGT, which, hey, I've got in drop C, so I'm going to swap over. Let's do just that while I'm talking about it. Feels very, very similar to the McCarty neck, whereas the core DGT neck is slimmer, and I know I've seen people say that they prefer the necks on these to the neck on the DGT, which is a bit slimmer. Actually, down here it's more like the McCarty, up here it's more like the DGT. It's like a hybrid thing. And the Gold Top one has moons as well, which is pretty sick. So, oh yeah, this needs a little tweak. There we go. Da, 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 da. What else can I tell you? I do need to just widen that nut slot a little bit because I've moved up a gauge. Actually, I don't know what the ship's with, if it ships with 10s. Regardless, I've got the same strings that I have on all my main guitars, which are Alexa 10 to 52 nanowebs for anyone interested, because that will pop up. What's going on here? What are you doing? Yeah, it's caught a little bit. That does need to be widened, so yeah, like the one glaring issue. The neck on the small side, nice though. Ugh, what am I doing? Yeah, it's like, and what's up, Lyle? I've loved your stream with Jason. Oh, and Jason's here as well. So we got the whole gang together. This is awesome. Actually, I was watching a video on, when was that? Earlier in the week. I was trying to figure out something about AC30s, and I was watching one of the video with the SG, where it's like, yeah, they're a rock amp as well. They're not just for chime, and that was pretty sick. So yeah, the neck, I find the neck on this is slightly chunkier than the core DGT, but it's like maybe on the slimmer side from the McCarty on there. So yeah, pretty, like it's, man, for a guitar that's, you know, less than $1,000 US, like to have this kind of fit and finish is pretty impressive. And I've gigged it, and it just feels like playing one of my other PRSs on there. So right here, TJ. So I was just saying, these ones, mate, you know, not a sponsored video. I buy these in bulk when I can, when I see them on eBay. Like, that's the one, the NanoWeb 10 to 52. I like the way they feel. Some people don't like coated strings. I play a lot of acoustic guitar and do a lot of acoustic guitar gigs, so I love the Elixir acoustic strings because they last a lot longer on there, but just kind of brings that feel a little bit closer together. So what can I play for you? Oh, this is cool. Somebody's mentioned the dregs. Cruise control by the dregs with Too Many Notes. Too Many Notes is that... Man, it's been so long since I've tried to play that. I'll show you the axe patch in a second. Actually, let's cheat. Man, this is. I remember learning that Steve Morse did not sweep pick this, and just being like, well, obviously that's a lie because the only way to play arpeggios is sweep picking. It's been a long time since. Yeah, that's right. There's a. Yeah. There it is. So, hey man, it'd be cool if I had a guitar sound at the moment. Where are we? That doesn't seem right, this transcription. There it is. And this is phrased as triplets as well, which is something I wouldn't have got when I learnt it. That there, that... You either have to do the Gambale style, you know, where he like rolls his finger, or Paul Gilbert style string skipping. Oh boy. Something like that. And Steve plays it at like warp speed as well, which is amazing. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to practice on acoustic guitar, actually, or just unplugged, just to get rid of that. So good. I was listening to, there's a Kansas song called Three Pretenders, which I love. It's with Steve Morse, and like, you're just like, there's early Dream Theater. I think people often say Rush Metallica for Dream Theater, but man, there's so much Kansas in what they do on there. So I'd like to know if he's planning a visit to the east coast of Australia anytime soon. Nothing planned. We were there. I was over in March and I was over in June with the band. Got to hang out with Jace, if he's still in the chat. That was very, very nice to actually meet in meat space over there. So that was pretty awesome. This is from Frost. I only ask these questions going into stores to play them for myself. Always leads to spending way more. Yeah. Hey, dude, it's a condition, right? You go in and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll grab that thing. Why not? And then get home and have the buyer's remorse. So I'm going to play you guys. Yeah, man, Steve is a maniac. Absolutely incredible. More people should listen to Steve Morse. Like, his Deep Purple stuff's obviously great, but the Dregs, and especially his Kansas stuff, is killer. It's easy to forget how much Petrucci loves Steve Morse, you know? And Scott says, hey to everybody. It's cool to have some people in the chat that, you know, these are like some of the few people I watch on YouTube. Stuff that's not like barbecuing meats and how to do compound lifts at the gym. It's kind of nice. So, and I am looking forward to checking out. How was the live stream today, Jace, by the way, as well? I was teaching while you were doing it, so I couldn't tune in, even though sometimes I'll be teaching online and I'll put it on in the background while I'm working, you know. So let's do this. Let's play the new Ragdoll single. It's called Sky's Limit. I recorded the solo I recorded all of it with my SC245, but I'll do it on the DGT. So we'll get some computer noises at the start.
Release from flesh.
Got to get those big, greasy, pinched harmonics on there. So yeah, this is, you know, it sounds like me playing the guitar. So this doesn't feel like a hindrance or anything like that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to. Oh, we've got like all the greats in here as well. Nick Granville, ladies and gentlemen. Nick looked like you had a pretty sick time at Steve Vai. I actually missed him. I had something on, which you know, this is me. Like, oh, one of my favorite guitar players is coming, and did not go. So big mistake right there. So yeah, if Lyle's still here as well, Lyle, I'd love to have you on the Gear podcast at some point, because while I spend the majority of my life, you know, making greasy guitar noises, and I've pulled this out of tune, you know, I like amps heaps, as Jason will tell you. And I feel like there's the things I don't know. You could fill an entire Encyclopedia Britannica with, you know. It's I'm sure most people feel like that about amp stuff anyway, but yeah, it's nice knowing there's actually people out there like who have the knowledge, who are willing to share it without being, you know, complete, like, what's the word on there? Like Jason's channel, I think, is the best example of it, where it's just like, you know, the way he dials in a Marshall is the way I want a Marshall to sound, and the way he plays an A chord is like the way you should play an A chord, you know? It's like, you've had to do this, you've had to play AC/DC songs in pubs to people who will bash you if you don't play AC/DC right, so that's how you do it. But yeah, I love that it's just like, here's the amp, this is what it's doing. You want to know the exact technical reason there's this particular value, it's this. You know, the chopstick comes out. When the chopstick comes out, you know it's getting serious. And then, you know, you get it. You get to hear it, which is important. It's not just like the technical aspect is cool. The playing aspect is cool. Having both together is awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna message Jason, and then Jason will hook me up, Lyle, and we'll make it happen. It would be really, really cool. A lot of things to talk about. To play AC/DC right, you need a metronome implanted in your head. Okay, so if anybody else hasn't tried this exercise yet, I'm gonna swap to the other DGT. Oh yeah, just bump guitars with other guitars. That's a thing to do. What is this? Okay, so this guitar's in standard tuning at the moment, which contributes to that extra spank. But this guitar just sounds so good unplugged, right? You know. Tony Levin chopsticks. I don't know. You'll have to ask Jason. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, Nick. Like, well deserved. You know, I can't remember if I left the obligatory comment of like, you know, one of the guitar greats and Steve Vai on there. So, yeah, that was super cool to see, man. AC/DC in pubs, you know it well. Exactly. It's how you make your bread and butter in this country. So, what you do, kids, is you pick your favorite AC/DC song, which, you know, for me at the moment is probably something like that. But let's pick something a bit more. There's no AC/DC. It's funny, right? It's family-friendly rock now. But let's just take some Raw Dog 800 model in here. So. What you do is, you get your Highway to Hell. However you want to play it, you want to play that chord like that. Just do not play an F sharp power chord. Just, kids, don't. Don't say E sharp, don't say B sharp, and don't play. There you go. That's how to not get bullied playing guitar. So what you do is like put a click track on, and I can do that in Fractal land. I think it's about 115-ish. Something like that. And, you know, it starts on the, what does it start on? The end of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Right. Now, here's the challenge. What is half of that? It's about... what are we, 115? So that'll be like 56 7-ish or something like that. Now, this is the snare. You can hear that click track? That's the snare. So what you got to imagine is the Highway to Hell beat. So it's doing this. Ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka. Okay? And now you've got to play the riff with just this half-time metronome on the snare. And this, I'm not going to be able to do this first time. This will take me a few goes. So what I imagine is the beat. So it's ka, boom, ka, boom. See how much I'm rushing? Still rushing. So this is like, this will take me 5 to 10 minutes to just get in the groove, right? To get that feeling where it's like you're not deliberately playing back. You're not doing that thing that like kids from the music conservatory do where they're like, it's so groovy to play behind the beat and it sounds try hard. You need to internalize that pulse and do or do not, there is no try. That's what it is. So that exercise is like the greatest thing ever. And Nick Granville, this might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, that I can play guitar in time, because if Troy was on the live stream, he could tell you all the times I have not been able to play guitar in time very well. Something I have worked a lot on. Again, this is like, Scott was saying earlier, they're like some relaxation stuff. So relaxation thing is very much tied to it, but yeah, like the fundamental pulse. Yeah, and another really, really great exercise, I got this from our drummer Cam, burying the click. So you set up a click track. I'll actually do it on my phone. You can do this with anything. You can do this while you're driving in the car, drive around with a metronome on, So 100 BPM, and you just get it almost loud enough. And then what you can do is you can just... See how, if I'm not in time, you can hear the click, but when I'm perfectly on time, yeah, like when you're on the beat, you don't hear the click. This is like such a great exercise for that, because you're so used to wanting to hear the click, whereas like when you're playing when you're grooving, when you've got it, when you're on the beat, you don't hear the click. So you're relying on your inner pulse. And if you can do that for like 4 bars in a row, that's almost superhuman. So, and there are definitely people who their groove and their time and their sense of pocket is very innate. They're very, very good at it. Just like some people can just sing. They don't have to think about it. Again, like I play in a band with a guy like that. Ryan is just one of those guys where the less he thinks about his singing, the better he sounds. It's more like, does he get enough sleep and does he get enough hydration during the day or something like that? So yeah, it's super interesting being able to do those things. And we did a podcast with Angus Clark from TSO, who are on tour at the moment. And he was saying that he has a rockabilly band that he plays in where you do that 2 and 4 exercise, imagining the click is the snare, but then you take it even further where the click is just beat 4. So you try and do that rockabilly swing thing with just that as your marker. And that's, yeah, he was like, yeah, this is basically like, this is what he practices to get ready for the gig. And again, it's like such a simple thing, and it's such an advanced thing. The Mobius strip of music being hard and not being hard. You can't like try, you just do it. Yeah, exactly. So, and being able to, you can even do that. So that's one thing, that's having the metronome as the external thing. Then you can just tap your foot on the snare, like clap on 2 and 4, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way to do it. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and like AC/DC, if you think they're a simple band, listen to them more and try play their music, and play it like them, because it's powerful. Like what they do is no one else does that. In fact, another reason I like this guitar, if you tap the pickups and you put it on the middle selection, you almost have a kind of Gretschy thing. Okay, this is unacceptable that anyone would make fun of you for going to see Billy Joel, because Billy Joel is a motherfucker. Like that guy is on another level with music, and his band is sick. Did they get the roadie out to do AC/DC? Like, if you haven't seen that, like he's got a tech or a roadie or someone like that, where yeah, they do Highway to Hell, and just this guy gets up and smashes it. It's so good. So yeah, I feel like Billy Joel and Elton John, like the way they can play piano is kind of analogous to, because I mean, the other big thing that people don't talk about with rock and roll is like the kind of like, boogie woogie piano stuff, right? Like Little Richard, like that's so much of the energy and so much of the flamboyance of rock music right there. And yeah, man, like Billy Joel, Elton John, Edgar Winter, these guys who are not six-string guitar players, so they're easy to overlook. They're just incredible. Think of Led Zeppelin's rock and roll without the piano in it as well. Like it's cool, it's awesome, but it's not quite the same. Or like Ingve. Yeah, probably in the good way. Yeah, the roll, not just the rock. Exactly. Some people were talking about Axe FX stuff, so let me do this. I do have a scene in OBS set up. Ba da 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 da. There you go. So Jason modified and cleaned up Troy's 77 JMP, and it's just one of those like, oh, this is a good sounding amp. So I had made a few tweaks based on what Jason did to this Brit 800 model, like added a bit of depth and toyed with the negative feedback. I did a video for the G66 channel talking about this stuff, but I really like with the Fractal stuff that, like if you know what you're doing, which I don't, but you can get in here and play around with things. You want to move the master volume location, you can put it post phase inverter, and you can do the Jose saturation switch thing in here. You can play around with the triode plate frequencies, and the big takeaway for me is like input filtering and things like that on certain amps and certain other amps. So yeah, you can go a long way to changing the fundamental sound of what you've got going on with like pre-EQ and post-EQ anyway. So Jerry Lewis as well. So Joe Lovano telling me about practicing with the click on the dotted quarter note, e.g. beat 1, 2, and yes. Yeah. Oh man, it's like all this stuff. Again, you feel like you suck when you first try it, but music is like so much of it happens via osmosis. Like you need to be put in the you need to be placed in the solution, and you need to let it like equalize over time. So there's definitely that element of it. And then I don't know if it can all be taught, but it can all be practiced. Put it that way. All for Lena by Billy Joel. Amazing. Yeah. And if you haven't seen the Billy Joel, that lecture he did for one of the Ivy League universities, it's so good. It's like he's just funny, and he talks about like his whole life. It's basically a TED Talk before TED Talks, but that was just on TV one day when I was like 15. I was like, oh my God, this is that same guy that does Piano Man. He's awesome. I need to go and listen to some more of his stuff. So happens via osmosis. We have the other John Brown. Speaking of people's YouTube, this is just like my YouTube watch history in here at the moment. So this is pretty awesome. And Frost Motion, Fractal needs to cut your check for all the free advertising you both showcasing the awesome feature updates. Well, the cool thing about this is like everybody gets this cool new free stuff, including myself. So I'm always excited about it. And yeah, I just get to try it like everybody else and play. I really like, they've got in the chorus block, they just added this tape flanger. If you want that. It's like very, very subtle if you want a widening thing on there. And the tape chorus is really, really good too. All right, we got some requests for some patches. So this is from I Bite You. Obsessing over metal tones on the amps, could you set up a patch for us and go through tab under the amp settings? Okay, so what are we talking metal? Are we talking like Black Sabbath? Are we talking Dio? Are we talking early Metallica? Are we talking later Metallica? Are we talking like Periphery, things like that? So, yeah, let me know that one. And I'll show you I want to show you the broad concept of like a metal guitar sound to me. I normally use studio monitors. I've got Adam A7s. That one's for Aaron Christie. So this is, you can take anything. So what do we have here at the moment? I'm going to turn this chorus off. We have the Brit 800, so, you know, I think this is a 2204 model. So there's some gain in it. It sounds cool. This is the way I think about a lot of modern metal sounds. Cut bass before gain, boost bass after gain, or after the gain stages on there. So one way you could visualize this is, I mean, let's just turn the gain all the way up, and it has a sound. Okay, so it's a bit woofy and a bit woolly. So the basic concept, and you can do this in the amp block, but I'll do it with a filter block, right? Let's use a high pass filter, and what we're going to do is, let's start at 200 hertz. So you want that like tight jung 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 kind of thing. One way to do it is to filter out low end from your guitar so that it doesn't like bloat out the gain stage. You know, like that's clearer and tighter already. You could go to extremes, you go 500 hertz. You can hear there that it's like, now you're actually losing a bit of bite and gain. So this is why a lot of people will use something like a tube screamer, because it's cutting low end and it's boosting the mid-range and the overall level. You know, and then if you're cutting too much bass going in, crank the gain up, then you pull it out. Then you boost the bass like up after the main gain stage. That's a really common topology. And the best exemplar of this is like a Mark Series amp where these controls, the bass, middle, and treble, are before the main gain stage in there, but then you have a 5-band graphic EQ. So you can see here almost, well, the bass control is on 0, so it doesn't mean there's no bass. It just means that's like the extreme of the input filtering. And then you pump it back up here. So without the EQ, yeah, so, and then that also lets you, like on the amp, this treble control is kind of like a secondary gain control. So that's kind of cool. So basically, cut bass and boost mid-range before the gain, do the opposite after. That's your kind of stock metal thing. Bit of Andy LaRocque. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I err on the side of, if I'm playing live, more gain is more good because it's easier to play. But, you know, with this, like you can pull the overdrive back quite a bit. And also this gain control versus the overdrive control is kind of like flat gain, whereas the gain control, if you have it low, you bring in more of like, because there's well, on this model, I've got the bright cap on, so this is going to make things, you know, the lower this is, the brighter the signal going in is, for use of a better term. So, yeah, you know, that's, if you're going to quad track rhythm guitars, this is probably enough gain for most things. What am I doing? That's not how you play that. Oh man, and see now you're in the stage where you actually have to work on playing. Maybe a bit more game. Yeah. How good's King Diamond, by the way, as well? Yes, that's a big thing. That's a big thing with those, you'd hear with lots of gain, I was just like, flapping around. But if you don't get if you do that, not as good versus. That, rather than, you could do that. Or you could do it. So yeah, this it makes you earn these notes big time. That is Rust in Peace. Well, it's not Rust in Peace. It's Holy Wars from Rust in Peace. So yeah, there's that like trade-off between having to earn it with your right hand. This is with greenbacks as well. So the cab choice is a big one. Okay, so 5150 in MS cab. All right. If you go and grab my free blocks library, the Filth Dynacab is a recto combo on there, and I don't have a 5150 dialed up, but let's do this. Let's go to the 5153. Oh, what are we going to do? Red, blue. Blue's fine. Bit flubby. Turn the master volume down is step 1. Let's take it down to 2, and we'll compensate by turning the level up. And then, I don't know, on these amps, turn the presence and depth up probably. And then turn the gain down and, I don't know, use an input boost or use a drive. There we go. This should sound A-OK. Pretty cool. I prefer the sound of the cab that I'm used to because of course I am. So yeah, literally those, what I actually really like, there's the FAS modern amp models are really, really good for this kind of thing. In fact, there's one called Brutals. So this is easy. You just get your cab, you get FAS Brutals, you go to the preamp tab and you use the grinder boost, and you just turn the boost level up, and now you have a pretty sick modern metal tone. Hear that? So that's probably my favorite one. The FAS Modern is very, very good, and Modern 2 or Modern 3 as well. Let's try Modern, and again, like with a boost if you want, or if not. Like FAS Modern at stock settings is sick. And yeah, grinder boost is really, really good. Like 12 to 15 dB of gain is pretty sick. Yeah, no 5150 dialed up. I think I lean towards the Mark series or JCM 800 thing on there. So big thank you to Aaron Christie. Don't know how much later I can stay out. Mate, go and get some well-needed rest. And this is going to, I mean, this will be on the internet for as long as my YouTube channel is up on there. So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Do I gig with the Axe effects? I actually gig with the FM3 mostly. or the FM9. So the 9's like for big shows when I basically want all the foot switches, but we do a lot of like the FM3. I have a road case for my FM3, like one of those what's the company called? A Pelican case. It's not a, it's a Pelican case knockoff, but I have it in there on a pedal board. So that's the grab and go solution, which is normally what I use most of the time. So yeah, it's great because I basically have the same. Well, I have a very similar live preset to this, just with fewer elements. Like I don't use the ring mod as an octaver and a few other things, but it does everything I need for a ragdoll gig. So that's it. There's no rack. It's just a Temple Audio solo board with the FM3 and an EV2 on it, straight in there. So yeah, I have gigged the 3 a bunch as well, and entered like when we use in-ears or when we have to mix ourselves for smaller gigs, we've got a Behringer X18R. So it was nice just having the rack with the X3 in it, another rack with the Behringer in it, stack them at the back of the stage near the drummer and wireless, and you're good to go. So, all right, Sad Wings Raging, take it easy, mate. I get that it is getting late in the States as well. And yeah, man, the FM3's amazing. So they rolled out this gapless switching update on here. You want to see the FM3 setup? Okay. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Let me grab it. I said it was grab and go, right? So, you know, this has the luggage approved, you can roll it thing, which will probably break at some point, but yeah, let's see what's in the case. I should move over and I should get rid of the editor. There we go. So, like, that's it. Like, actually, people have asked about this. So Temple Audio have their own mounting things. I've got 3 of them on here, like 1, 2, and 3, and that fits pretty well. And then the EV12, sorry, not the EV12, the EV2, that, it's the way it is spaced, the little rubber things that go into the bottom of the expression pedal, 3 of them fit perfectly through the board, and 1 doesn't. So it's only held on by 3. And I've lost the other one anyway, so it'll never come back. And I've got a little, like, Temple make this little patch bay thing, which I don't use that much. A lot of the time it's just the XLRs straight out of here, but if I need the 1/4 inch outs, I can do that. And then, yeah, there's a few cables in there, and there's a wireless, and Bob's your auntie. You're good to go. So single expression pedal, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's the, whatever NuX wireless this is. I don't know the model number. It is the C5RC 5.8 gig wireless system. It's fine. That's all I want in a wireless, you know. I know it's not gonna sound like a cable, but I'm also not gonna trip over it like a cable. And the art to this is making sure you get the cables to slip under the pedal board properly. And it's got a little seal on it, and yeah, it's great. That's been pretty much the live rig for 3.5 years now. When I got that FM3, it was, man, February or March 2020, and we did an East Coast tour. This was right before COVID, obviously, so it was all going down while we were touring. It went from a nothing to an everything. But yeah, the 3rd or 4th gig I did with it, some guy like literally fell forward on the stage and spilt a whole beer over it. So it's still a little bit sticky and stinky, but it's holding in there. Alex, thanks for catching the live stream, and I massively appreciate that as well. Yeah, totally, dude. Look, if I was doing, I can totally see Kate, like, okay, so if Nick Granville is still in the chat, the gigs that Nick does doing theater shows where you need a lot of sounds instantly, the FM9 makes way more sense than probably having to juggle 3 foot switches on there. But, you know, I reckon for a ragdoll show, probably 70% of it is the one rhythm guitar sound, which is very similar to what I've got happening right now on the Axe. You know, it's just, and you know what, let me grab the guitar it's dialed in for. because the DGT is sick, and yes, it does stay in tune very, very well. I'm super into it, but you know, there's dial in for this guitar, so let's not run over cables and void. So that's like 70% of a gig, probably 15% of a gig is stuff that goes. There's a few sections that go. And then the other time is. Big screamy lead guitar stuff. So yeah, that's what I need. But yeah, if I was doing a gig where I needed dual amps or I need to switch seamlessly between them, hopefully that seamless switching update from the 3 comes over to the floor units as well, because that would make the FM3 in particular crazy powerful. So here we go. We've got someone from Wyoming, Michigan. Mate, I hope you're doing well. I always appreciate when you do that. So FM3 rig is sweet, considering getting one on sale. That's, I mean, you know, consider what you would need with all of this stuff to do it with individual elements. And you could probably do a lot of this with like a Stomp. You know, it's an amazing unit. Line 6 has put out another update as well. You know, but also the Fractal stuff, like I am super used to the way it sounds. It sounds so close to my real amps as well, and I'm lucky to have the reference amps so that I can test that stuff. But of course, if you don't have the reference amps, you can just dial in sounds that you like. So yeah, so here's some good advice from Nick. Set up a JTM 45 cranked and rode the volume of my guitar and a trem, worked great. You could do that on an FM3. You couldn't, yeah. So let me tune this absolute beast of a thing. So I know people are going to ask. And we have someone from Canberra. I know that place. What do you do in Canberra? Because there's normally two things people do. They work for the government or they're studying over there. So they're probably at ANU or something like that. But thank you for catching the stream, mate. And we've got Axlinger from beautiful British Columbia. Would love to visit there one day as well. Yeah, exactly. Dial in what sounds good. Have fun. That's you know, we're talking about like doing gigs and stuff like this. You know, I always like to tell myself, well, it's pretty cool. I'm a professional guitar player. But the reality is the majority of guitar playing I do is just noodling around because guitar's cool and gear's cool as well. So Brettel, how are you liking that new update? Because they added the movable mics and, you know, it's very, very easy to get tribal with this stuff. So I'm just cleaning grease off this guitar so it looks less greasy on the camera. It's a grease machine anyway. Yeah, it's pretty cool that they've been able to add that stuff. First one you've said. Well, there you go. Awesome. How did I know? It's almost like it was a 50-50 chance, right? Yeah, Nick, the little FM3 goes hard, bro. It's, the other thing is depending on the size of the guitar bag, like if you're someone who has a guitar bag, well, they definitely fit in the carry-on bag that I've got and a backpack. So, yeah, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important aspect of any of this stuff. Alex Gifford, there you go. What's your volume preference between clean crunch and solo sounds? Good question. I normally have like a 3 dB boost for the lead stuff. And basically, Western Australia is just a giant airstrip at the moment. You can hear that. And yeah, the clean sounds are really hard to dial in. They either have to be like in isolation, way louder or way quieter, depending on, it's like perceived volume versus how it meters on a desk or something. So yeah, that one's a bit harder. Is there any way to get the same Enjoy Ragdoll sticker on your DSL50? I want one for my Marshall. Write to me on Instagram, because we should have some we should have some on our Bandcamp store, but they might be sold out. I don't know how many we have left, but yeah, if I have one left, hit me up and I'll organize a way to get it there. Don't worry, Josh. You just got to keep having fun and it'll happen, mate. So Scott's in Southern Idaho. Awesome. This is cool. We got a roll call in here. Anyway, there we go. I'm talking about the FM3. Yeah, it's all a big support group in here. You got the police because of your katana. Yeah. Hey, the other thing as well is like, I remember 15 years ago, like being like, how do I practice silently and have it sound good? It was really hard. And now you got a cheap Focusrite interface and a, amp modeling plugin and headphones. You're good. You're totally good, bro. You're awesome to go. So, all right. I am actually, it's 1:30 here, so I'm going to go and do some stuff. I'll play you all out with one more song. This has been a sick live chat, and I'll try and do it next week and maybe turn it into a regular thing. Everybody in here, it's a pleasure. It feels like hanging out with your mates. I really, really like this aspect of it. So I might play you guys Rust, because that feels like the appropriate song to finish a live stream with. Although there is one more question in here from Alex. He's curious if you ever listen to Car Bomb. I love Car Bomb, dude. I'm pretty sure the guitar player uses an Axe 2. So there's those kind of whammy... I feel like there's a video I saw where someone has figured it out how to do the pew 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 laser sounds on there, but I also really like setting up the, they've got that kind of pitch drop thing on there with the whammy where you can go down like polyphonically hang on, what am I doing? Let's do this. Let's go external one. Sorry, real quick. Everybody can get in and say their goodbyes. You have a... Oh, yeah. I'm just going to do this one thing. And then being able to go up, There's an art to the way he uses those expression things in there. They're one of my favorite heavy bands, and the music videos as well are them and what's the other band I'm thinking of? They've got the song that they wrote where they put chicken feed on a toy piano and then wrote it. Not Boris. What are they called? Igor, with 2 R's on the end. So yeah, go and listen to that. Envelope Control, either the whammy or the pitch block. Okay, that's cool to know, Chase. No, we have a request for... I was going to play Rust, but we had a request for Follow the Leader. So I'm going to do that. Have a great day, everybody. Here is our take on King's X.